What would be the first things that you would look at inside of a business if you were to restart it again?
I was always scared to hire back then. Like, it was the scariest thing in the business for me.
When growing a business, whether it's a construction business or a business in general, you need to.
Welcome to another episode of Built for More by Premier & Co. Today we have a special guest, Geordie Beckers from Pure Design Constructions, who actually came on board around a year and a half ago. Is that correct, Geordie?
Yeah, it would be pretty much bang on a year and a half ago.
Turning over $700,000, now being able to scale his business to $6 million turnover.
Yeah.
Started with 6 team members, now being able to scale to 20. Geordie, massive congratulations. Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Yeah, beauty. I'm looking forward to it.
George, everyone that's wanting to or is listening to this episode today, they want to know the nitty gritty, the things that they should be aware of, and how they can scale their business to a level that you have. So with that being said, Geordie, let's hear about your story.
Yeah, sweet. So, I mean, I've always, I guess from when I was young, wanted to have a business. I've always, from when I was a kid, I was mowing lawns or started an e-commerce brand for a little bit, and then I ended up going into sales for a while, and then realised I should probably just get back into carpentry. Got back into carpentry, was really liking my job, but I was driving to Sydney every day. So it was just a little bit much for us. Didn't really have a good life, I guess. Like driving down there, I was leaving when it's dark, getting home when it's dark, and then we just decided one day to cut it and start our own business. And I remember my old boss saying, well, you can keep working here till you get your first job. And that weekend I got my first job. I had my first decking job over in Terrigal, and yeah, we pretty much started the business from there. And in the first year, I still not the biggest fan of carpentry. I mean, I enjoy the business side of things, but I don't like being on the tools that much.
Yeah.
So the main goal was to get off the tools, and I think I did that in about maybe 4 months.
Wow.
And then, yeah, that's been pretty much it. Then we jumped on with you guys, and now we're here. So
yeah. George, that's actually a really good point that you made. And, you know, it was talking about when you first started and how you actually transitioned. You went into sales for a period of time before you started your construction company. And I want to stress how important that is to actually understand sales and be able to sell a product or a service.
Yeah, definitely. I think taking the lessons even from the e-commerce store with the marketing, so how marketing should be done, not just coming into the trade industry doing your apprenticeship and getting word of mouth. So I knew what needed to happen with the marketing, and then I was doing face-to-face sales, so it made it quite easy. We weren't selling a product back then when we were doing the sales. We were selling the charity, so we're doing it. It was an emotion that we were selling. So it's probably the hardest of a sales to really do, because you didn't have anything they wanted. You were kind of surprising them and then trying to get them to sign up. So when we got onto this and we're selling something that people actually wanted us to come out for, it was just really simple. And then it was just kind of fixing those processes as we went along to kind of tailor it to the trade industry. But yeah, definitely it's helped a lot. I think that's been one of the biggest things, taking the lessons from the sales and also the e-commerce store as well.
Yeah. Being an expert in your field as well, actually understanding the industry, the trade, being really good at it, and then being able to sell that product.
For sure.
Simple, right? So I guess let's kind of rewind it a little bit. When you first started your business, what I guess were some of the things that you ran into straight away? So let's talk about the first 12 months in business.
Yeah.
What were some things that I guess you stumbled across, you were kind of pushed into the direction of, et cetera?
Well, I guess like the first thing is, I think everyone that's in business that just goes into business is worried about like, how the hell do you leave your job to go to something where you're not guaranteed any money?
Yeah.
So it was fighting that fear and understanding that nothing bad's actually going to come from it. Worst case scenario, I can go subcontract anywhere I want, so we can rip in and give this a go. That was probably one of the things that at the beginning was a bit of a fear for me, sort of trying to figure out where we're going to find work. And then I also didn't know anyone on the Central Coast. I'd worked in Sydney my whole life, so I didn't have any connections from trades to clients. Even sort of my old bosses, I couldn't really get much help from them either at the time. So they were probably like the biggest challenges for me at the beginning. And then, yeah, I mean, everything started snowballing pretty quickly for us. So it ended up working out pretty pretty fast.
How did you actually start acquiring them first leads? Because I think this is one thing that a lot of young tradies starting out that are looking to start their own business or go out on their own, trying to find them clients, trying to find them leads and get them jobs. How did you start with that?
So I did it probably the way that you guys would tell people not to do it. I was because I didn't know anyone, and I was 23 years old, so none of my friends owned houses or anything like that, so I couldn't really work on families' houses or their houses. So we signed up to a platform called One Flare. We're also on High Pages, but I didn't really like it, so I didn't use that.
Yeah.
And then I found it was less competitive on One Flare and easier for us. We had no overhead, so I knew that I had to make $2,500 a week profit for me to be able to live, pay the rent, do the grocery shopping or anything like that.
Yeah.
So we could go in and quote things pretty cheap at the beginning, and would still you'd make more than $2,500, but you could just get work off that. You'd pay about $20 for a lead, and then hopefully you can convert it. So that's how it all started with getting it. And then we sort of realized as you get overheads and you want staff or you want to do better and you want to grow, you can't really stay on those platforms. You've got to try and figure out what's next. And that's when we took those lessons from the e-commerce store. And then it was just a lot of trial and error with the Facebook ad companies. We didn't have Google ads or anything like that. I didn't know much about that. So it was more just Meta. But yeah, we just had a lot of trial and error to get that right.
You've scaled quite a lot, Geordie, in a short period, right? And I think that a lot of construction businesses, when they first start out, a lot of these guys get their work through word of mouth.
Yeah.
Marketing, sales is very foreign to them, right? It's almost something that they avoid because they don't know anything about it. And then they probably can't afford to, I guess, pay someone to come in and do it for them from the start.
Yeah.
Now, for you, having a bit of a background and knowledge when it comes to sales and marketing, how vital was that for you at the start to be able to start to build a brand, even, where you are now from where you came from? How vital was that, getting that going from the start in order to build up so quickly?
Yeah, massively. I think the sales side of the thing that was sweet. When I was going out to a quote, especially when I was quoting cheaper when we had no overheads, I was pretty confident we're going to win it. And then the meta ads, we didn't have the money to run meta ads or have an agency at the very beginning. So I was running them myself, and they were doing good considering I was running them myself. And then I remember one day we had this one ad that was running really well, and we're getting maybe $30 per lead on it. And then I went on to see if I could make it better because I didn't know what was good or what was bad. I was like, well, maybe we can get it to $15. And then I went on to try and play with it, and then I could just never get an ad running again. I was like, nah, stuff this. We're going to find a company. And then that's when we sort of got into chatting with a few people. But we're already making a bit of money. We had enough work lined up. And probably at that time, there was just myself and I think Max, who's now one of my project managers, and we had one of our apprentices working for us as well. So we didn't have a lot of sort of overheads.
And did you have a sales process then when you were going out and quoting? I know you educated yourself in sales, but how long until you actually put a sales process in place? Because I think it's so important to when you're going out and you're quoting these jobs.
I guess because it was just me in the office at the time, the sales process was in my head. I knew sort of what had to happen, and we would always get the quote off the same day. So, I mean, same day within 24 hours sort of thing. So if we were going at 4 o'clock, we wouldn't do it the same day. We'd do it the next day. But so I always had a sales process in my head. I mean, looking back on it now, it's definitely not the process we do anymore. It's changed a lot. But yeah, we always had something.
So in the first year, we hired our first team member. Is that correct? Or was the first year just you in business?
I was off the tools in about 4 months.
Yep.
So we had myself in the first year. I think there was 7 of us all up, and then I would have came on with you guys around then.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, maybe a bit before that.
Yeah. And then what, I guess, pushed you to then get that outside help or, that person in your corner?
Yeah, well, actually, I did coaching with another coaching mob. And it definitely wasn't a good fit. And I was like adamant I wasn't going to do coaching again. I remember talking to Brioni and I was like, we'll never do coaching again. And then I was just looking for some extra sales training because I was like, that would be perfect. And I reached out to Flynn and he recommended you guys and we had a chat about it. Then you guys had the coaching and I was like, oh, fuck, we'll try it one more time. And now we're here. So it worked out really well. But yeah, it was always sort of, I always wanted to be able to go to the next level, and I knew that I didn't have really any connections or anyone I could talk to about it. And then to the heights that I wanted to get to the business, we'll get the business too. We weren't going to be able to get that there without me knowing what to do. So it was good getting the extra support.
Geordie, I want to talk about execution for a moment. I think it's something that you've done really well in terms of urgency and acting really quickly. So something you mentioned earlier around getting quotes back within 24 hours. Talk to me more about that and how that's actually helped you guys scale up so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I guess most people know when you get out to see a client, they're really excited about what's going to happen in the backyard or wherever you're doing the work. So they really want to get it done, especially, I mean, it's probably a little bit different if you're a plumber fixing people's drains, but for us going out to build you an outdoor living area, you're excited about it, you want to get it done, and then we can kind of run you through our ideas, get you more excited because we can really bring this to life for you. And then if I can go home and get that straight away to you, you're excited, you're happy, you've just met me, you like me. And then you see that come through and you're like, oh shit, he's keen. We're still waiting 3-4 weeks for the last guys to send their quote.
The impulse is high, they're ready to go.
Yeah, then they accept it pretty much straight away. For a while there, I probably wasn't doing the right thing. I wasn't really calling clients and asking them if they wanted to go ahead because we were just getting them accepting almost straight away or enough to accept straight away.
And you know the difference is you're 100% right when it comes to purchasing, you know, a deck or an extension or a new build or whatever it may be. That actually is a shiny new toy, a new object that someone's wanting to purchase. They're very excited about it. And from us coming in with our trade background, it's like normal, right? So a lot of people with trade-based businesses head out to site and that's normal for them. So they don't necessarily build that excitement with the clientele. They don't go through a series of questions where they're actually finding out the details, etc. And I feel as though you do that really well.
Yeah.
And that is the golden ticket, right? In order to convert more leads and convert more jobs into paying clients.
Yeah, 100%. It makes a massive difference.
Yeah. In I guess in the last, say, year, what's been the biggest shift for you in your business in terms of team members coming on and a bit more structure?
Yeah, I'd say the first 9 months of last year, it was just pretty much just growth. We've got, so there's 20 of us on full time now. So we were just focusing on growth. And then we started noticing there was definitely cracks in it and we weren't going to be able to just keep scaling the way we were. Technically we could keep scaling, but it was going to be a mess if we kept scaling and we were just going to have more issues. So we stabilized like you guys recommended. We stopped the scaling and then it got into focusing on all of our systems from project managers, what the business actually needed. So we needed another project manager. I needed another sales manager. We needed all these things. So that made it pretty easy for me to sit back, figure out what was going wrong, and then we can kind of fix everything. So yeah, all the systems and everything like that. Right now we're still working on it and we're still growing at the moment, but it's just kind of leveled out just a little bit.
I want to rewind that a second and actually stress the importance on that. When you're scaling so rapidly inside of your company, and this goes for any business, we want to make sure that we get to a point like what we talked about where you stabilize, you actually figure out what works and what doesn't work. So I want to stress the importance for anyone out there listening right now. If you are growing at a rapid rate, especially the same as yourself, George, where, you know, things do change every day consistently. New things do pop up consistently. We need to understand how the fundamentals work. With your business right now, I feel as though you're pretty much there, finding out how them fundamentals work. What would be the first things that you would look at inside of a business if you were to restart it again?
Yeah, I guess, obviously you need to be bringing the work in. So I'd be doing all the right marketing. But I think the first thing now that I'd look back on is, number one, how I hire, making sure I'm getting the right people around me, that not everyone's going to come into the business and they're not all going to want to help you, even if they say they're going to want to. So you definitely need to focus on getting the right people around you from the beginning, because if they see the business growing, they're going to want to stay. We have a couple of guys that have been on from the beginning and they've seen that and they've grown with the business as well. But definitely focusing more on that, I think, would be one of my main things.
Yeah. And with your team, because it's such a large number, 20 team members, we always speak about, you know, having job roles and descriptions and KPIs to hit. Explain a little bit about that inside of your business and how that works.
Yeah, so we have job roles for pretty much everyone. We have job roles for the project managers, which they have pretty similar job roles on what they need to get done. It's sort of just a checklist so they can go through and tick things off. And then with our one-on-one meetings, we're setting roadmaps up for all of the carpenters here. And I mean, not so much the apprentices in that, but for the carpenters, if they're on, say they're on 33 or 35 bucks an hour and they want to get to 40, they can get to 40 here, but this is what they need to do to get to 40 here. So then it's not just like they're, I guess, sitting there not knowing what needs to happen or will I get a pay rise this meeting. Well, if you can tick those boxes off, then you're going to get a pay rise this meeting. Yeah.
Over the last 12 months, Geordie, you've transitioned from, managing the team, quoting the work, bringing in the work and materials and so forth. Like, you've transitioned now to working through others. So your project managers are doing a lot of that now. How was that transition for you, instead of dealing with the team every single day to just dealing with the project managers?
It was actually pretty easy for me. I've always been pretty good at trying to delegate jobs. So, I mean, for me, it was really easy. And then I've got, at the moment, we've got an awesome crew in the office as well. So they all want what's best for the business and also for themselves in their career with Pure Design as well. So that's made it really easy. I mean, I haven't had any issues delegating.
In terms of the office stuff, what does that kind of look like? Who helps you inside the office? I know your partner Brioni's a big part of that.
So Brioni, she does all the things that I can't do. Even just from getting all the contracts sorted, managing our VA as well, all the way through to editing any of the content that I post as well. She's always behind the camera. So that helps out a massive. And then we've got Max and Kyle. So they're both project managers. Kyle's running Newcastle and Lake Mac, and Max manages the Central Coast. So they pretty much deal with everything on site now. So if clients have a problem, they should be reporting back to them. I mean, we also have a WhatsApp chat with all of our clients where they can put all the problems in, which we only just started this year, so that's just gone into place. But it means that if Max doesn't see it, Kyle will see it, or if those two are away, I'll see it. Someone's going to see the issue and we can get it sorted, or if it's not an issue and it's just good things going in there, which is what we prefer.
Yeah.
But they deal with pretty much all of the clients, the ordering materials, all of that. And then we've got Mason, who just has started this year in the sales role. And he's absolutely killing it. He's had a massive month. For his first month, I think he's going to be sitting around that 400K for the month. And then I'm sitting a little bit behind him, but I haven't quoted this month. But I think, it's going to be a really big month for us. We're trying to get probably our biggest month this month.
What do you use in terms of your line of communication? So you've got your team communication and your client communication.
Yeah. Well, team communication, we stole the WhatsApp community idea from you guys. So we do that. And then we have that for each job. So every job that happens, so the boys post all the receipts in there. Perfect. So then the project managers can now do their spreadsheets with all the costing. We post all the photos before and afters in the WhatsApps. If a new team's going to go to that job, we can drop a message in there about what needs to happen. And then we have just our standard chats and all that kind of stuff in there too. And then, with the clients, we were just having them talking one-on-one with the project managers, but we just found that if Max is off and he misses a call or he doesn't have his work phone on it, they can get pretty frustrated with that. So if we have that WhatsApp chat, it means that if they pop a message in there and Max is off, Kyle can reply. Or if the two boys are off, I can reply, or Brioni can reply if it's about invoicing or anything like that.
Nothing gets missed.
Yeah, exactly. So it just means if they're happy to follow sort of our system, then it'll be a pretty smooth project.
This is the importance of systems and procedures, right? Like, everyone talks about it, but actually having one that consistently works, that's duplicatable, it's scalable. We can consistently know what's working, what's not working, et cetera, et cetera. Saying that, I would love to hear your process. How does it work? How does it successfully operate? So from when we arrive to site, how does that convert all the way into
from when
job?
We go out to quote a job? Yeah. So on the system that we have now, we get there 15 minutes early. So everyone always comments when we get there early and says a tradie's never early, and we just let them know we're always early. So we get there early, go through, chat about the client's job or anything like that. We just have a bit of a chat with them in general. They ask us questions. We'll pretty much do the whole on-site sort of walk through. We'll give some ideas if they want ideas. chat about different options, different materials. We have samples, and I mean, eventually we're almost done the showroom, so they'll be able to come into the showroom and actually check everything out after we've sent the quote over to them if they're looking like they're happy. But once we do that, then we have something that we hand over to them so they can keep us sort of like front of mind.
Yep.
And then
Is that you hand over a capability statement or do you send that out with your quote, or how does that work?
it's pretty much just like the website and a book.
Yep.
And it's just something that, like, when you get given it, you feel like you shouldn't throw it out. Like a business card, you'll just chuck.
Yeah.
Or you'll lose it. But when they get this 6-page booklet, shows our team, who's in the team. While we're in the team, it shows the awards that I've won, the business has won. It showcases some of our work, and someone might get us out there for a deck, and then they see that we do bathrooms as well, and they're like, "Oh crap, I've just seen that from the booklet." So then they'll get us to start quoting other things as well. So we hand that out, and then right at the end, we go through everything with them. We go through sort of all the stuff that we've written down today to make sure we're on the same page. And then, we ask if they have any questions about sort of myself or the business. And they usually do have some questions, and then we just answer those questions, tell them where they can find us online. And once we go back, we get that quote sent over to them. We usually send them photos of similar jobs that we've done to their job, so they can actually go on there. They can have a little look at like a deck that we did last week, and then we send them a link to our Facebook or our Instagram. And that means they'll go follow us, and they keep seeing us, and they start coming along with the journey.
Yeah, that's awesome. It goes to show that always being that one step above is what converts it, right? Because what's the difference between your business and any other trade-based business that goes out and quotes that job?
Yeah.
It's consistently creating that value for the clientele, making sure that they feel comfortable and confident that you can actually push through with the job and complete the job.
Definitely.
It ties into having a really good online presence as well, which is something that you've been super consistent with. Talk to us a little bit more about the content that you provide, why you do it, and how it's actually helped you guys so much when it comes to credibility.
Yeah, so we used to just mainly focus on pure designs content, and that's helped out heaps. We get the boys doing walkthroughs. I don't think any of the boys like it, so yeah, they all they hate doing it. I think they secretly like it, but we get them doing the walkthroughs. But then it means when they go out to a job, the client's like, "Oh, that's Harry from the video last week." We actually went out to a job. Myself, Max, Mason went out to a job together the other day, one we've already got, but he wanted to add some extra things on, and we were all in the area, so we went out and had a look at it with him. And when we got there, he was like, "Oh, he's the YouTube stars." So it's definitely good. People, even if I haven't met the client, if Mason's got the sale, I went out to a job the other week where I hadn't met them, and I walked up the balcony and they're like, "Oh, Jordan, you're here." So they know who I am already before I'm actually going out there.
So what would you say to that tradie or business owner that's scared to get behind the camera and they've got this big block up that they don't want to do it, they don't see the purpose in it? Yeah. What would you say to that person?
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing is doing your business content. So the business content is getting behind the camera, talking about the jobs. It doesn't need to be about you or anything personal like that. It's just what your business can do. So you don't need to be worried about it. It's something that you guys do every day. So you should be able to smash it out, get a video. And when I first started, if you go look at the videos that I used to do, they're terrible. So if you go back, have a look at them. It's going to take a little bit of time, but you get used to being in front of the camera. And once you start doing it, you'll definitely notice a huge difference.
100%. Geordie, you said something earlier that you find yourself really good at, and that's delegation. When growing a business, whether it's a construction business or a business in general, you need to get really good at growing a team, delegating, having the right systems in play. Not everyone is good at delegation, and people want to try and do everything themselves. What tips and tricks would you give to someone that struggles with delegation because they might be a control freak or they want everything to be, A1?
Yeah, I mean, the more you can delegate, the more trust you're putting in your team, the more they're going to want to stay around because you're giving them trust, and then you're going to get a little bit of your life back. So if you can get rid of ordering the materials, you're probably going to save yourself a few hours that week. You can go out for coffee with the missus, or you can be hanging out with the kids, or whatever you like to do in your spare time. So that's the main thing that you get from doing the delegation. I mean, it's hard for me to give any tips. I wouldn't say I'm lazy, but it's I've never wanted to do everything. Like I knew what I wanted to do and where I wanted to get it to, and I even now, like, the goals always change, but we always knew the next step on where it needs to get to, and I've got a heap to do to get it there. But once I get it there, there'll be less.
The thing is, you actually understand your most valuable position inside of the business. And that's one thing that a lot of people get stuck at, is because they're doing low dollar amount, non-productive tasks. They might think that they're productive, being on site, having the nail bag on, being the site supervisor, running and getting materials, because they feel as though it's a low dollar amount task, right? They're saving money because it's not costing much money, but it is. So tell us about that. Tell us what it looked like to go from, I guess, let's say an hourly rate on the tools to then moving into the position that you're in now inside of your company, and why it's so important to consistently upgrade your role.
Yeah, I mean, you also for yourself don't want to feel like you're stuck in the same thing every day. That's why, I mean, you are going to feel like that in business. That's just what happens. But if you can constantly be growing, excelling yourself in the business, you're not going to get tired of the business. You're going to feel more pumped up to go to work, and then hopefully you'll be going to work a little less as well. So that's sort of like the end goal for anyone that has a business. I'm guessing it's to be able to do what they want to do in life. So yeah, that's probably what I would say.
As your business grows, you know, your time becomes more valuable, obviously, and, you know, tasks that used to serve you will no longer serve you, and you'll have to audit your time. How often do you actually have a look at the tasks that you do and transfer and fill with new tasks?
I actually don't do that often at all. Yeah, no, pretty bad at that. But I mean, I shouldn't say I don't do that at all. Every Sunday I do a reset for the week, and I know what I need to get done that week. And I can usually do it in like 2 days of work. And then I sort of have that 3 days where if I decide I want to go to site and help, or I want to take the jet ski out, I can do that. So
It sounds like you do it without knowing.
Yeah, I think, I forgot that I do that. So yeah, I do the weekly reset, and that kind of gives me all my tasks. And I break down the tasks as well in my reset. So I'll be like, have to get done, don't have a choice. And then the tasks that are like, if you want to keep growing or you want to get to the next level, these are what you need to get done this week. And then we do the big reset sort of every 6 months with new goals and all that kind of stuff as well.
George, we spoke about a little while ago now, being so caught up in the business and pushing for success day in, day out, and actually not taking the time to understand what you're doing it for or enjoying it, you know, hobbies, the things that you love to do, etc. Think back to the conversations that we had around that. What do you think changed? And for the person out there, the tradie out there that's really focused on the growth of their business now, but they're really caught in it, what would you say to them now? This episode is brought to you by Premier & Co. We help builders and tradies step off the tools, build solid teams, and scale profitable businesses that don't rely on them 24/7. So if you're looking to grow your business and you're sick of being the bottleneck in your own company, head over to premierandco.com.au and book a strategy session.
When I was scaling, there was a time not too long ago when I would have called you and had a chat with you about, should I be looking at selling the business or something like that? Because I just felt like I was just drowning every day because it was just for 3 years we just had constant, like, we got to keep growing, and then you kind of get the repercussions of that come through. So yeah, we had all that happen where we didn't know if it was worth keeping the business. And I guess you just got to remember sort of how lucky we are. And we weren't making a lot of money at the time as well because we were just growing, so we're just reinvesting constantly. So we were seeing the accounts just drop, and then as soon as we started stabilizing, the money comes back, the time comes back, and then you get a clear mind, so you can actually sit there and be like, well, we don't want to be like that again. We do want to keep growing. Let's fix this and go again. You don't need to do it all in 3 years or 2 years or a year. You can break it down in patches, have your first set of goals, hit that, see what's working, and then keep going. That's probably how I'll do it next time too.
It's so important to understand what you're doing it for. And I think one of the biggest questions that you need to, or anyone needs to ask themselves when it comes to growing a business is, if you had all the money in the world, what would you be doing in your life? And a lot of people get stuck on that, right? Yeah. Because they're like, oh, well, what would I be doing? I'd be kind of lost, or it is my purpose. And the businesses, they become our purpose, right? The reason why we wake up, we're motivated, we're building something. And I feel as though it's a really good question that you need to ask yourself consistently. What am I doing it for? What's the reason for it? If I had all the money in the world, where would I be? What would I be doing on a regular basis? You know, you found the jet skis, tennis. You love playing tennis now.
Yeah, I think I mean, that's been a question that I've always been a little bit stumped on what I would actually do. And I think we're starting to figure that out as we go along with the things that we really enjoy in life. That, I mean, it's just not possible to be traveling 5-star hotels for your whole life or something like that. So, I mean, just finding the things that really give me joy and give me a break as well. Like tennis is awesome because you don't have the phone out there. So the phone, as long as you remember to put it on silent, you don't hear it ring. So you can kind of just leave it to the side, and you can be out there for an hour or 2 hours having a game of tennis, and you don't need to worry about it. And that's the same as the jet ski. The phone's gone. You either don't take it out or it's locked inside and you can't have it out. So I find that a lot of the things where I don't have my phone around me is when I'm probably having the most fun, and that's probably where I would be if I was overseas. Doing something, if I didn't have my phone with me and I was traveling around and I'm not having to take all the calls and all those things, that's probably sort of what I'd be doing.
George, I want to talk about team culture for a moment because it's something that you've obviously done really well when you're bringing 20 people together to build a business. What have you done to be able to create such good culture and, I guess, growth for everyone inside the business? Because you've had team members that have started from the ground, and now they're all the way up to project management roles. Yeah. And you've recently put other people in those roles as well. How have you created that culture and the growth so your team wants to stick around and they generally enjoy coming to work?
Yeah, I think one of the main things we do is I'm honest about sort of everything with them. So there's no like if they ask me how much a job costs, I'll tell them how much a job costs. Or if in the meeting, we had a meeting just the other night, I think Wednesday night, and we took them all out to a nice restaurant for dinner. And pretty much we went through everything we needed to go through. And at the end, I think a lot of businesses don't actually tell the team what's happening this year for the business. So I kind of sat down and explained that it might not look like we're growing for the first 3 months of this year, but after that, there's going to be another sales role. There's going to be another project management role. This is where we're looking to expand. After we do this, if we decide we want to keep growing, which we probably will, there's other services that we can go in, and then we have a conversation about it, and the boys let me know what they think on it, and they can all give their input as well. Because at the end of the day, if you're a one-man band, it's fine, but when you're growing at scale, you can't do it by yourself. You need the right people around you, and you need it from apprentices all the way up to project manager. They all need to be doing their part for the business, so they need to feel like. Well, they don't need to feel it. They're the face of the business when they're out on site. So they're going to be the ones to help grow it too.
That's such a good point. Having a plan, sharing the plan, the vision, the goals with the team, making sure that the team's got buy-in so they actually understand where they're going, how they're getting there, etc. And then actually showing them how they can step up, grow inside of the business. It's massive and it's something that you've done so well.
Yeah.
I think having that platform for your guys to step up is vital because otherwise you're going to create an environment where there's a ceiling. And as a team member, whether you're just a carpenter and you're getting paid $45 an hour, and that might be good for where you are, eventually they'll become used to that. Yeah. And then they get offered a couple of extra bucks up the road and a fuel card, and then they jump ship.
Yeah.
So talk to us about setting your guys up for success in terms of there not being a ceiling.
Yeah, so I think that's been one of the main things. I'm pretty confident that, I hope not everyone, but I'd imagine that maybe 80% of my guys, if they got offered an extra $5-10 an hour, they wouldn't want to leave because we do it pretty good here. And then they know as well that if they want to put in the hard yards and they want to put the effort in here, they're going to definitely get rewarded for it.
Yeah. I think when it comes to growing a business, everyone has someone behind the scenes, and you have your lovely partner, Brioni.
Yeah.
What's the motivation there, you two as a couple and building this business together? What are your roles and how do you work together, and how does it motivate you to do better?
Yeah, she's definitely the boss.
The glue.
It's a good. There was a time where it was a little bit weird for me with when I was actually having less to do and Brioni was still pretty busy. So it was that's why I put the VA on to lift some of that stress off from her as well. But she does sort of I would guess you would call it the office manager. She manages all the office things, the inquiries that come through, the schedules, my calendar, because I can't manage that. So, and then, for me, I'm just managing sort of like the big decisions that need to be made for the business, the team, the growth, having the hard conversations. And, one of the things I'm working on this year is just to become a better leader for the team as well.
With leadership, and I know this is something that we all go through when we start a business, we're trying to relate to our team consistently. So sometimes we can become too close, where we become really close friends, etc. But then all of a sudden we're trying to, enforce company values, or we're trying to, tell someone what to do or the job that they need to complete. And then there's that pushback from our team members. I feel as though we all go through that once upon a time, where we become too close and then we're trying to enforce things, and there is that pushback.
Yeah.
Tell me what changed with you from going, working with 1, 2, 3, 6 guys to now 20, and the way that you needed to really upgrade yourself as a leader in order to run that team.
Well, when you have 3 guys, you can be a little bit lenient. So if like one of them messages you on the Monday being like, oh, can I please have the Friday off? You're like, yeah, it's fine, because it doesn't really matter. But when you have 20, if you had 5 people messaging you for the Friday off, you have to say no to everyone. So that's why you have to just have the set systems in place that this is when you can ask for leave. It's the same as if you were to do that if you're working at McDonald's. They're not going to just be like, yeah, not a problem. So I guess it was realizing that we had to really follow our systems and procedures. And then for me, a big one was not going out just getting pissed at the team days or anything like that. So the last few team days we've done, I haven't drank at. I mean, I did drink at the Chrissy party, but I don't drink at any of the team days throughout the year anymore. And that's just because I have fun without drinking with them anyway. And it's also just setting an example. Like, we're not doing this so you can get pissed. This is just so we can all get together and bond a little bit more.
100%. It's so interesting now, especially inside of Australia, where fitness, health, holding yourself as a leader is actually push, and it's really positive, which is great, especially inside of business. And I think as you continuously grow as a leader, you need to be an unarguable person. Yep. I always talk about if, you're to go get coaching or go ask someone for advice that's a pro surfer such as Kelly Slater, you're probably not going to argue with him when it comes to his techniques or how he actually performs a move or does something. Yep. The same as business owners, right? If we hold ourselves to that standard, if we're doing things that consistently grow our business, consistently grow ourselves, health, fitness, etc., well, then you actually start to become that unarguable person. But if you are heading out to these team days and, you're having a couple of beers with the boys and so forth, if it gets a little bit loose, a little bit too messy, the respect drops just naturally. They feel as though they can push back in certain ways, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. And definitely not everyone feels like, I've got some guys that when I first started, we had some pretty big nights. And I feel like it's just, you'll have a group of people that will sometimes want to take advantage of that. And then there's a group that you'll be fine with. Like, I know Max, he's been with me from the beginning, and we've definitely had some big nights on the piss. But now he understands why I'm not doing it now. And it's not because I think everyone's going to do that to me, but it's just because if I need to do it to someone and they do it to me, it can't happen now.
Geordie, I want to talk about lifestyle, right? Because at the end of the day, the whole reason we create a business is in order to support and live a good life, whether it's for ourselves or our family or support those around us. A lot of business owners put themselves last when it comes to, whether they're paying themselves or, they're paying all the invoices and they just are left over with what's left at the end of the week. I know this is something that you've done over the last 12 months and was spoken about with upgrading, not only your salary, but, buying the car and actually rewarding yourself for the hard work that you're doing. Talk to me about that and what it's done for your mindset.
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, I definitely was, I wasn't even paying myself a wage for a little bit. So it was not seeing money come into your personal account and then you got money coming and going from the business account. Definitely wasn't a great feeling. So I spoke to you guys about it and we spoke about buying the car. And then I remember after that phone call, we went out, we got Brioni of the new car. And then, definitely bumping the mindset when we started bumping our pays up. has been great. Like, yeah, feel good coming to work. I actually am pumped for payday. I used to hate payday. I love payday now. I'm like waiting for Brigoni to put my money in there. I'm like, yep, let's go. So payday is the best day of the week for me again. So it's just the business is its own thing, and I work for the business, and that's how I look at it. Like, I mean, of course, I get to control a little bit of what happens with the business, but at the end of the day, I work for the business, and if I'm working for the business, I need to get paid. And if someone else was in my role, they'll probably still be getting paid more than I am as well.
Spot on.
It's so true. At the end of the day, we all work for the brand, and this is the biggest difference between a boss and a leader. You work for the brand is the business. Yeah. Underneath that, we all have our separate job roles, responsibilities, and we all need to run the ball up on it. If we all perform inside of our individual roles, everyone succeeds.
Yeah.
So I think when it comes to you paying yourself first, right, it's something that motivates you consistently, because you were saying that, you can't wait to payday, and now that you're getting rewarded for it. So if you could rewind, when do you think you would start that?
I would have I probably would have saved up, got a little bit of a cash reserve still. Just depending on what you're comfortable with for your cash reserve. I know each business is different, but I would have saved up, put that money aside, and then straight away I would have started paying myself. I mean, it's good now because we have the company dividends, and then before we were a sole trader, so that it was sort of like it's your money, but it's not your money. So yeah, I would have swapped over to a company way earlier, and I would have started paying myself probably within the first, I'd say it would have been sometime within the first 6 months after doing a bit of saving.
Yeah. George, there's one thing when you're growing and growing and growing, and I know that we had the conversation around this, and it was around property. Investing in property, getting yourself, there's no point of having a cash flowing business if we're not actually supporting it with an asset that can continuously grow in the future, or we can manufacture that equity straight away. With your properties right now, where did that start? If someone's starting out and they've got a business that's creating really good cash flow at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, the property's been awesome. It worked out perfectly as well. So we ended up getting it pretty cheap because they said on the building report, you'll need a carpenter to inspect this. So I remember we were walking through.
Hang on, I know someone.
We were walking through the first open home, and I remember there was a heap of families in there, and I had my work uniform on, and I was just telling Brioni a little bit loud how bad the house is. So all the families were like, "Oh, that builder's saying it."
The old tactics.
Yeah, it was good. And then when we got it, it was pissing down rain, and we actually just started running out of our indoor work. So we put the whole team work in there. We had. There was one point I think we had like 15 people working on the house in one day.
The block at Geordie's house.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So it's been going pretty good, and we should finish the renos I think in the next 3 months. Originally we weren't going to move into it properly, but we are going to move into it just so we can get this next place. And then we can we're going to try hold as much as we can and level up. And then another thing that we're actually doing, which we're still figuring out exactly how it all works, but we're going to be offering investment opportunities to management inside the business, so they don't feel like they need to go somewhere else to earn more money as well. They'll be able to earn more money at Pure Design.
Unreal. Yeah. That's fantastic. With knowing the right people, right? You were talking about you were hesitant to come on and go through coaching again because you're burnt in the past. I guess when you came on board with Premier & Co. and, there was so many new ideas or new things to implement inside of the business, what made it easy to scale? What made the difference?
I think it was just clarity on my decision making. I think we would talk most of the time, and I would have some ideas on what I thought to scale, and then you guys would kind of refine the idea a little bit with me, help me figure out how that idea can actually work, and then it would just be like, if you do that, it's going to work, and then we can kind of go out there, and it's just up to us to actually get it done, which is, I mean, that's my favorite part, just going and getting it done.
Having a plan and then executing.
Yeah, having the clarity behind me to know that like it will work if we can do this, and it's not just me in my head like, I think it's probably going to work maybe. And also maybe not like, I guess with the systems, we didn't have any systems when we came on with you guys, and now the whole business has systems through it, from sort of everything we do, from hiring to firing.
Well, it's duplicatable when you've got a system, something to follow. It's like a set of plans.
Yeah.
You rock up to a build and you don't have a set of plans. Like, where do we start? We know it. We know it through our education, right? As carpenters, plumbers, electricians, etc. But when you turn up to a site, if you've got a set of plans, you can follow step by step. everything runs smoothly. We know when everything needs to be ordered, started, et cetera, et cetera. Exactly the same with the business. The I think when it comes to you and when you started, if you could go back, I think this is a really good question to ask yourself. If you could go back in time, what's 4 pieces of advice that you'd give yourself?
Stop partying. Yeah, like I think one of you guys said it to me, and it was not to confuse partying with success, and that's been something that I've really stuck at. I had a few drinks when I was in Airlie Beach on holidays, and then I haven't drank since I've come back from Airlie Beach, and I won't be drinking Australia Day or anything like that. So definitely having a clear mindset, getting the right people around you, focusing on the marketing, and then I think personal branding as well. That'll probably be the 4 bits of advice.
Yeah. Moving forward into 2026, what's the goals? Or what are you aiming towards?
Yeah, so I think at the moment it's just to get everything down pat. Just after we had the coaching call the other day, and I jumped off that, and I was pretty pumped up. So we've doubled our Google ad spend, 40% extra on our Meta ad spend as well. We hired another 2 guys, and we're gonna hopefully put on another 2 teams one team in Newcastle, 1 team on the coast, and then pretty much book out everyone 6 months in advance, and then we're gonna move into the Hunter Valley. I mean, we already do a bit of work in the Hunter Valley, but no marketing at all, so it's gonna open up a whole new area for us.
That's where where a lot of people get confused, and you just mentioned it then, you're going to spend more money when it comes to marketing and et cetera, et cetera. When a lot of people start, they might spend $2,000 or $1,000 or whatever it may be a month on Facebook, Meta, et cetera. And they pull back because they feel as though they're not getting the results or they're not actually tracking it.
Yeah.
What do you say to them people?
Yeah, you have to spend money to make money. So that's pretty much everyone would have heard that saying, and it's pretty much as simple as that. If you guys say it, if you can put money in and you know you're going to get times 10 back from putting that money in, why wouldn't you do it? Yeah.
How much are you currently spending on Facebook and
Well, it's
Meta at the moment?
$80 a day now. So I'm not sure what that actually equals for the end of the month. And then Google, because we're just building out the new campaign again, that's going to be $3,000 a month just on ad spend.
Okay.
Yeah.
On your Meta ads, are you running like 2 or 3 different styles of ads?
We've got a few running, but we have one that's just like works for, I don't know, a crazy amount of time. I think it's been like
It's been like a year and a half or something, hasn't it?
Yeah,
It's just consistently worked.
Saxon's like got this one ad that it's just been pumping, and we just haven't had to change that ad, so it just sits there, and it's got, I think we're paying like $35 a lead on that ad at the moment. And then we have others that we're testing in the background, and we've just got one of our good friends, he's a videographer, so he's coming on weekly. We're going to do 2 hours a week with him.
Nice.
Where we're going to come on, make a heap of content for personal brands, and then also for pure design as well. And then we've also got a few scripts for ads, so we can start trialing video ads too.
How do you, I want to touch on apprentices and tradesmen, right? Inside of construction, a lot of people get it confused where they check the dollars in the bank account when they're starting to scale, and they go, hang on a minute, well, a tradie might cost me $2,000 a week, or an apprentice is going to cost me $800 a week. I'll hire the apprentice. And then what naturally happens is they get the apprentice on the tools, and they're becoming a teacher. They've got no time. They're starting to pay more wages.
Created more work for themselves.
Yeah.
And they start going backwards instead of looking at the tradesman. Yes, it might cost a little bit more to start with, but what we do is we put that tradesman on site, and then we're able to remove ourselves, upgrade our role like you continuously do, and then focus on more dollar productive tasks.
Yeah, and I think if you apprentices, they make a lot of mistakes, and that's why they don't get paid a crazy amount as well. So you got to remember that once you start paying the apprentice, they're going to be 1 day a week at TAFE. So you've only got them for 4 days, and you got to pay for that extra day. You've got to help them a fair bit. Like when we first started, we used to buy our apprentices their first toolkits, and now you're really mentoring the apprentice as well at the moment. So when you put it, I would recommend anyone putting on a tradesman first. That's what I should have done first as well.
Definitely.
I put on an apprentice, but then I put a tradie on pretty quickly after that.
Learn the lesson fast.
Yeah, exactly.
Talking about hiring, George, like a lot of people are hesitant because they, look at the bank account, or their accountant might say, well, looking at what you've earned, you can't really afford it right now. But we all know as an entrepreneur and a business owner, you need to predict the future.
Yeah.
And you need to go for it, right? So let's, scale back to when it was maybe just 6 or 5 guys and you were looking at the bank account and you were questioning whether you could afford another tradesman or, that next hire. What were some of the things that went through your mind throughout that period that could help someone else that's hesitant, that doesn't necessarily have the funds there, but they probably need to hire in order to keep growing?
Yeah, I was always scared to hire when, back then. It was the scariest thing in the business for me, because you look at it like, oh shit, I got to pay someone $80K a year. And it's not that much when you break it down weekly as well. So you don't need to worry about the whole yearly value. It's something that always really worried me. But I think that I've learnt now. Even we were just going to hire one carpenter the other day, but we had 2 interviews that went really well. I just hired both of them. We didn't need both, but I know that I'm going to scale in another 2 months, and I'm going to need that carpenter then. So why would I turn him away now when I can put him on now and then have him all trained up for exactly when I want to scale?
100%. The turning into apprentices into tradesmen and having that growth throughout the business, because we're touching on, your team members now consistently having that growth, knowing the future, know what's ahead of them, and know what the possibilities are inside of Pure Designs.
Yep.
How do you go about that? Training up your apprentices in order to be really good tradesmen and actually see the future? Because I know for ourselves as apprentices, when we're coming through, it's like you kind of just, you're rocking up and, you're waiting for the day to kind of end.
Yeah.
But when you've got purpose and you're in a company that has massive growth, it means a lot, right?
Yeah, we have even, I guess I haven't had yet one of my apprentices become a tradesman, but we're pretty close. I've only been operating for 3 years. So, but once that, during this period now is the most important period. And for me, it's not so much what you need to say to the apprentices, it's what you need to say to the tradesmen. You need to let them know, we're not doing shit here the old school way. We're treating them right. They're not just here to labour. That's not what this is. I mean, yeah, I'm probably going to get them to dig the hole, but
We've all been there, George. We've all been to dig the holes.
But they're there to learn. If you're doing the framing, get them over there and get them to help you framing. Don't get them just carrying concrete bags from the car all day. You got to have them learning from the start, and they got to feel like they're learning. And that's why when we sit down and do those goals, the goal setting with them, we do personal goals and then their career goals as well. The apprentices, obviously, their goal is to finish their trade and pass that. But the small goals during that could be to hang a door, to complete a bathroom, to do something like that. And then we can look at that and be like, all right, so we'll chat with the project manager. Ben wants to hang his first door. And then Max will line up a door job for Ben, and Ben will go out and hang the door with one of the tradies. So it just keeps them constantly growing in the trade, and it gives them more certainty that they're going to learn as much as possible here.
I want to touch on that. If there's any young kids that are out there listening to this podcast right now and you're looking to start a trade or an apprenticeship, it is so valuable, and I would highly suggest to do so, because if you look at all of us inside of this room right now, we did a trade, we built a successful business, went into property, et cetera, et cetera. So if you are looking to start a trade, it is so important to do so. In the world of AI now, right, so many people are looking to, do things online or build things. I'd say the easier way, it sounds easier. If you do have an opportunity and you can go into a business such as Pure Designs or a successful construction company, do so. There is so much growth there.
Yeah, 100%. And then even if you, I dropped out of school and we probably all thought we weren't going to make any money when you drop out of school. You can make a shit ton of money in the trade, whether it's working for someone or whether it's running your own business. You can do it either way. So you have heaps of options once you get into it.
Talking about leadership as a business owner and how important it is, Jordan, when it comes to your guys and teaching the apprentices, what have you kind of had to do with them in order to get them to level up as leaders as well?
Yeah, I think so. for us, we've got not a lot of young carpenters on, but they're all sort of around my age. So they've all just, like, they remember what it was like being an apprentice. When you're 40, you kind of forget, but they all remember sort of how they might have got treated with their old employers. So for us, it's just a chat when we're hiring to let them know, like, this is what we stand for here. And then we just watch it. So if something bad's happening on site and they're treating the apprentices like shit, they get called straight to the office and we'll be having a meeting. But I've only had it happen sort of one time, and yeah, I think everyone that works here, they treat the apprentices really well. So I haven't had to worry too much about it. And then for the learning side of things, I mean, all of my tradies want the apprentices to learn more, and that's just so they can probably do a little less as well. So that's the main part.
What a great chat.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for coming on board and sharing with us your story. I think a lot of people will get a lot of value from this. And if you are looking to grow your trade-based business in 2026, reach out and we'll be in touch.
Yeah, beauty. Thank you.
Thanks
Thanks,
so much.
George.
Great.